What's up, everybody? It's Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. This show was filmed exclusively for odds.com. Make sure you click the link below, check it out. Make sure you drop a like, and good luck on all your action.
All right. We're closing in on the good stuff here. Unfortunately, the Ricky Simon fight is off the board. We now have Carlos Condit taking on Matt the Immortal Brown. This is an old man fight. These guys, both of them are, retired and then returned from retirement. Not one that I really have any interest in betting. I've been on the wrong side of both these guys because they've been so up and down, so inconsistent in their careers. Carlos Condit was absolutely one of my favorite fighters for a very short term. I do think he's got more gas in the tank here. Matt Brown's body is just so worn down. I mean, the dude's got vicious power. He's good everywhere, but he can't take a shot anymore. And I think that's kind of the biggest key here. The only problem with that is that Carlos Condit doesn't knock anybody out. He's more of a submission guy. He wears his opponents down, and if he doesn't land that head kick, he's got to out-scramble you on the floor. And he's kind of slowed down in that area as well. He hasn't submitted anybody in quite some time either. So if this thing takes place on the feet, I got to give the advantage to Matt Brown, but the durability is a problem. I want nothing to do with it. I'm not going to bet Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit.
No, I haven't even seen a betting line, to be honest with you. I don't even know what the betting line is on this fight. I have no intentions of betting it. You're absolutely 100% on point. There's better spots to get your money down in. Like the uncertainty with these two fighters over their last handful of fights doesn't, like, where's the attraction in betting a favorite in this one or even betting the underdog?
Condit's minus 160.
This is a fight where, as an MMA fan, I want to watch it. Sit back, watch them fight. Like you said, great careers. They've given us some awesome moments inside the octagon, some great fights. But I don't see any betting opportunities. I don't see any value. I don't see anything screaming like, oh, this is a bet I got to make. He's a lock. No, Brown or Condit aren't jumping off the page as winning this fight. I don't think so, at least.
I agree. I'm going to pick Carlos Condit. I'll say he gets it done, but no real confidence there. We can save a little bit of time. Let's move on to some more intriguing matchups here. We've got Santiago Ponzinibbio making his long-awaited UFC return against the Leech, Jing Liang. And this is one that I'm actually pretty excited about. So we have got the Leech, who I feel like everyone's kind of a little bit low on after his loss to Neil Magny. But this guy fights long really well. He flurries with his attacks, nice leg kicks. He's got big power in short range. He can really pack a punch. Fires hard off of clinch breaks, which is something that I like to see. And he's another guy with really good head movement, rolls with the punches, good counter striking, very, very patient. He lets the kills come to him. He doesn't chase the finish when he's got his opponent hurt. And then Ponzinibbio, he's been sidelined with medical issues since 2018. Now, I know before he left, he was an absolute murderer. He was a killer, but it's been 2 years. He's getting older. He's been set aside with bacterial infections and bad arthritis issues. That's why he hasn't been fighting. Now he makes his return against Lee here. Ponzinibbio is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, but looking at like the significant strike stats, Lee averages 4.51 significant strikes a minute and only absorbs 3.69. So he's outstriking his opponents by about a full significant strike. Ponzinibbio averages 4.27, absorbing 4.02. So he about takes as good as he gets, and he really relies on that power. With that long of a layoff, I know he's got that big-time death touch power, but Lee has a hell of a chin on him, and he's going to be in the right spot to roll and fire back with counter shots. I think the Leech is being a little disrespected here. I feel like we've got another live dog. We've got Ponzinibbio sitting about minus 280, and with that long layoff, I just can't get behind it. I'm very tempted on Lee Jing Liang at plus 240.
Are you really? I haven't touched this fight because, again, it's the uncertainty on the Ponzinibbio side. Everything I have as far as that pre 2018 or 2019, actually, he fought till the end of 2018, but pre 2019, it's justified he should be this big of a favorite. With that said, though, it's what you touched on. He's now 34, not 32. Those injuries, how debilitating were they? What are they going to take out of him? From that fighter that should be this favorite? meaning the price we're being asked to pay on Ponzinibbio is based on that fighter that we last saw November 2018. I'm not sure it's a price that's based on the fighter we're going to see on January 2021. And that uncertainty is why I'm not willing to lay the chalk. But on the flip side of that coin, if he's close to that caliber, still, if the injuries haven't debilitated him, if those 2 years off have been even a positive because he didn't take a pounding during age 32, 33, 34, which are huge for fighters if you look over the years of their career. The ones that don't get beat up, that's why the McGregor fight is going to be so interesting to break down in 257. But it's not always a negative when they're after 30, when they have the layoff. It isn't always
let your
a
body
negative.
Heal up and recover.
Exactly. It's just not knowing what that damage did. But if it didn't, I think it's justified. Like you said, coming off the Perry win, the Magny win, the Gunnar Nelson win. He was on fire, dude. He was on fire between 2015, 16, 17, 18. Boom, boom, boom. Winning, winning, winning. It's hard to get in front of that. But I understand your argument on the dog.
It would be a little bit of a blind faith shot, so I'm not sure. Once again, I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger on that one. I just feel like the line is a little bit too wide, given the circumstances. You know, like you said, with a layoff like that may not be a bad thing, but considering it was bacterial infections, considering it was arthritis, like those are not easy battles to fight.
That you come back from, You're right.
His body was in a different kind of battle. He wasn't just kicking back with his feet up recovering. So that's where I'm a little bit tempted here.
No,
and on top of that,
makes sense.
On top of that, kind of looking back at his record, like you mentioned, he was on top of the world when he went out. But Nordine Taleb, Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry, those names haven't really aged all that well. I know it was 2 years ago.
Also more important, and not to interrupt you, excuse me, he wasn't like a big favorite in those fights, other than the Talib fight where he closed like a 4-1 favorite. Like now he's a minus 300 in this fight. That's a heavy favorite, man. He was a dog to Magny. He opened the dog, he closed the favorite. Against Perry, opened minus 150, 165, 170, right around that range. Closed near that 200 range. You're asking a lot, and you're right. I don't know if they aged that well.
And I think that Perry fight, I'm glad you brought that up. Going back and watching that one, that was Perry's first vet lesson. He was in that fight in the first 2 rounds. And then round 3 came. And Ponzinibbio showed him what it looks like in the UFC in round 3. He just had nothing to give in the 3rd round. And I think, again, 3 years ago, Mike Perry, that's when he got the guy at the right time and he showed him what a step up looks like. Jing Liang has had that step up. Jing Liang just went 15 minutes with Neil Magny. He made a bad choice trying to out-wrestle Neil Magny and gassed himself out. But if you look back just before that, he knocked out Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, which was, he lit the world on fire with that knockout. That's a 22-7 fighter. That's a serious, experienced fighter that's just been a killer in the UFC, and he knocked him out cold in the 3rd round. I feel like this line is too wide.